not go home. I was scheduled to go to China, because that break just hadn't been finished yet, and I only had 43 missions, so they said, nope, you're going to China. Well, they, as usual, it's hurry up and wait in the Army, I guess all services. And so we were told that's what we were gonna do. There was about 6 or 7 of us. Well, while we're waiting, I could fly anything was on the field. I could go any place as long as the tank. And one time I even landed in a British field and got topped off on gas. You could do things like that. Well, this particular day, Mustang comes taxiing up and parks. Canopy rolls back and the pilot stands up on the seat and says, "Hey guys, the Fräuleins are sunbathing down on the river." Whoa! Now I'm in tactical reconnaissance, and that's information you're getting, and this sounded like vital information to me. So I was going to jump in my Mustang and go down there. And then I thought, you know what? The Mustang is a fabulous airplane, but it flies too damn fast to be enjoying Fräulein sunbathing. And here's this L5 sitting there, and L5 is a kind of a big cub. And I had flown it once or twice, but I had no authority to fly it. And I looked at that and I said, this will be a better job, and I need it worse than anyone else right now. So I jumped in and fired it up and away I went. Well, I cruised that damn river a couple of times, and there was no Fräulein. Oh. Now, yeah, that was the way I felt. Oh. Well, either he scared him off when he was buzzing him. He went and made a couple passes at him, and they all scattered. So that's probably what happened. All right, now I'm flying back, and I'm frustrated, of course. And it's a nice, beautiful day like it is here right now, summer. And here's this beautiful pastoral scene down there. There's this great big field, 2 hay wagons going down, a bunch of farmers throwing hay on it. And I looked down on that and I said, geez, that's the enemy. And here I'm so frustrated and they're just having a nice day down there. I'll bet you if I go down and fly in between those wagons, that'll spoil their day. Yep, I'm gonna do it. So I did. I peeled off, and as soon as I started down, the farmers dropped their pitchforks and grabbed their team to steady them, because the horses don't like a plane roaring up from behind them. And that's what I would have been doing. So they want to be sure the team don't run away, so they're hanging onto their halters. And except for one guy, and he stands there and he's got his pitchfork like a fork. And he's just standing there. I said, "Mister, you are gonna lay down." So I pulled up and went around way to the end of the field and got right down, just clipping grass all the way down. And he stood right there. And I thought, you son of a gun. I'm either gonna chop your head off or you better lay down. And he stands there. Now this is all happening in seconds, and I'm taking far longer to tell it than what time it took to happen. Well, the thought came into my head, how the hell am I gonna explain this? I'm not supposed to be flying this plane anyhow. And how am I gonna explain a pitchfork sticking out of it? So I pulled up and waggled my wings and flew off. I lost the battle of the hayfield.
Next war.
That's good. I got one other one that you might enjoy. Again, this is after the war. We had what you call combat rest leave. If you flew so many missions, they figured your nerves were shot, and so the favorite spot was Paris. So I'd been to Paris once on account of that. The time came for a second, but now the war ended, and here comes a notice we started flying them down to the French Riviera, because we were down farther in Germany, so it was, Riviera was closer than Paris, so that's where we started going. Well, I'd like to see that French Riviera. I've heard some things about it. Well, the war's over, so that's the end of that. Oh, one day here's a notice on the board. Elmer and Bill Landis be at the airport early in the morning. You're getting on the C-47, you're going to the French Riviera for 10 days.
Wow.
I didn't ask any questions. And I got on that plane.
Double time.
Sure enough, we went down the French Riviera. Well, that's another whole story, which I won't tell you. I did find out one thing though. Every French woman is a striptease artist. They'll come on the beach fully clothed, and they'll change into bikinis right in front of your eyes. You don't see a damn thing. Those girls, those
You
women
tried,
are
didn't
striptease.
you? You
That's
tried.
all their only explanation I have.
I gotta call my travel agent.
I doubt if anything has changed. Well, that's the part I'm skipping. But anyways, now I'm back on the field, and I'm standing there, and we were in a bombed out, we were on a Luftwaffe field, and we'd bombed out, and the hangar was just junk. But we fixed up the room next to it, we put some glass in it and all. That was our pilot's ready room. So I'm standing there with another one of my buddies watching the Mustangs taking off. Postman's holiday, you know, you fly the damn things, but then when you got some time, you stand there and watch them. Well, anyways, and I said to the guy I was talking to, I said, God, after those 10 days in the Riviera, I wouldn't even know how to fly one of those damn things anymore. Well, I found out right behind me, there was a guy who heard this. And right after that, my ops officer said, Elmer, there's a guy here, he overpaid some Dutch DP, displaced persons, for some work they had done. And if it don't get it straightened out, it's gonna cost him $300 out of his own pocket. And he's gotta get up to Northern Holland and do it. You wanna take him up in your Mustang. Now, here's another diversion. A Mustang is a single engine fighter, a single place fighter, and single engine. Well, so you can't give anybody a ride in it unless they sit on your lap. And so I never did pick up a wasp that was had a Postman. Anyways, but on my ship I could do it because I did not have a fuselage tank. Many of the Mustangs had 75-gallon fuselage behind your armor plating. We did have the silhouette armor plating, so they're shooting from the back, you'd have a chance. So there's an open space behind, so what you do is you take the canopy off, and whoever your passenger is going to be climbs in somehow or other. It's not designed for that. And they almost look as bad as I did getting into my Mustang this past summer when I was offered the opportunity to sit in the cockpit, which I would not turn down. But I needed help getting in, and I hate to see a picture of it. I've heard plenty about it. Well, nothing graceful there. Well, anyways, then when whoever your passenger is, then they gotta duck down because the canopy will come right through their head if he's sitting up straight. Because there just isn't room. That cockpit is the plexiglass is formed at a perfect pear-shaped, so you sit hard and they clamp it down on you. Now I had a chute on anybody I took up, but no safety belt. And so anyways, I found out later on he's right behind me, and he hears me say, I don't even know how to fly one of those damn things anymore. And the next minute I'm his pilot. Well, I asked him, "Do you know where you're going?" Oh, yeah. So he pointed it out on the map, so okay, yeah, it was easy, so paid attention on the navigating, I get up there. Well, in the first place, we get out to my plane, I said, "Oh, here we are." He said, "I don't wanna get in that thing." And I said, "Well, that's my plane." "No, I wanna go up on that." That was an L5, the same L5 that I
Stall.
was searching for, I was sitting there. And, he said, "I wanna go up on that," and I said, "Oh, it'd take us all day to get up on that." "No, this is, well, he thought it was $300, so he gets himself crawled in there. And I didn't bother telling him that if we got in, I showed him the D ring. It's it's the handle, we call it the D ring. And I said, "Now, nothing's gonna happen, but if anything ever should, and I say, out, you jump, and when you do, get your hand on that ring, and as soon as you know you're clear of the plane, just give it a good hard yank, and you're gonna have that pillow out, and you'll be floating down, and that's it." Well, what I didn't tell him is, if we got in trouble, I'd roll it, and then pop the canopy, which means that would disappear and he's gonna fall out. And I didn't bother telling him that. Because it had to be done right the first time anyhow, so why discuss it for a while? Okay, now I get to the destination. Now, there's two landing patterns you do in combat. One is your normal pattern, and the other is they call it a combat approach. Now, in a normal pattern, this is a runway ahead of me. You'd come in at a 45-degree angle and you'd fly on the downwind leg, because you always land into the wind. Then you land on the crosswind leg, and then you turn on the approach, and then you land. That's your normal approach. That's so any traffic coming in, they just fit themselves into that if there's more than one plane. But in a combat approach, and the reason for a combat approach is you're most vulnerable when you're in a landing pattern. The whole plane, we call it dirtying it up. You slowed way down, you drop your landing gear, you drop your flaps, and you get jumped then. It takes a while to get everything going, and so you're vulnerable. That's how we shot down the first 262s, the German jets. We couldn't touch them in the air. I had the fastest thing going, and they were 100 miles an hour faster than I was. So the only way we could get them is they could not carry much fuel. So we knew that if we saw them, they'd have to go back for gas pretty soon. So you just kind of stooged around, and when they took off for their field, you'd follow them and try to nail them in the approach. So I thought, I'm gonna do a combat approach. So I dive. Now you picture my passenger. He didn't want to be in it anyhow, because in the first place he didn't want to be in that plane. In the second place, the guy up front said he couldn't even fly him anymore. And here all of a sudden the engine quits and the ground starts coming. He can't see straight ahead because he's sitting behind that armor plating. He's bent over, but he can see this way and this way. And here's this ground coming up at him. Oh, he's gonna die. And then I pull up and I drop my wheels. And when they land and lock, you definitely jars the plane. And drops the flaps, and the Mustang, when you drop flaps, the back end of the wing folds down. In other planes, that does not. The flap is underneath and folds down, so you just looking at wing, you see wing. But in the Mustang, the back of the wing fold. Well, here the plane's falling apart, and oh, geez, well, I would land and taxi up, and he was as white as this table here. Well, I figured I'm not gonna see him anymore. Then I thought, well, that's a long walk back, I'll hang around a while. So I did, and sure enough, after a while, he does show up, had his business taken care of. Well, I'd never been in northern Holland before. So I'd never seen the windmills, I'd never seen the dikes and the posies and all the stuff that Holland is noted for. So I'm up there, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna take a general heading, and I knew way down, the Rhine took a sweep and hit that Rhine, and when I got to that part of it, I knew where I was. I didn't need a map anymore. So I set my instruments and take a heading, and just a general heading. I know I'll hit that curve. So I'm flying along, and I'm looking, and there's windmills and all of the things I was wanting to see, and I thought I hit that Rhine pretty soon. Gee, I should have hit that Rhine by now. Looking, no Rhine. And now I'm looking at the map, and I'm lost.
Huh?
I can't find myself on the map, and no, the Rhine disappeared on me, I'm lost.
No GPS.
And I think, holy Christ. Well, it was afternoon, and I see this field down there, I said, I better find out where I am. So I landed on it, turned out it was a British field.
Oh, boy. You
So
were lost.
the ground crewsman jumps up in the wing, I say, sir, is there anything I can do for you? I said, yeah, you can tell me where the hell I am.
You're right here.
And this terrible moan came from behind me. Oh, I thought, holy mackerel. Well, all of this guy is crazy. He doesn't know how to fly. He tries to kill me on the landing. Now he don't even know where he is. He's lost. For Pete's sake, I'm never gonna make it back. Well, I asked if they topped me off, which they did with the gas. And then he said, I say, sir, would you give us a bit of a buzz when you leave? Well, when you buzz, you always roll. And I guess my passenger knew that also, because he did even a louder groan than before. And I said, oh, I think my passenger would die of heart attack if I did it, so I did make a pass and waggle my wings. I didn't roll it. And you know what? That guy got out, when I got him back, that guy got out of their plane and never even said thank you. Can you imagine that?
No wonder he just
And
run
I bet you
away.
if he's alive today, he didn't forget that flight. Well, I only got another million of them, so
Cut the cake,
Time to cut the cake,
yeah,
Time to cut the
I'll stuff my mouth with a piece of cake, and I want you all to join me. You know what? I give my granddaughter a little job to do. I had this hat. It said 100 years, and last year she sewed a 1 on it, made 101. And this year she put a 2 on it, but I think she put it on the wrong side. Does that say 200 and?
No.
It's 102.
I misread it too, I'm sorry. I thought it was 200.
Is this for me? Is there anyone else gonna have any?
No, it's just for you.
All yours.
Well, I'm not gonna cut it, I'll tell you, cause I might cut my thumb off, so somebody else gonna have to help me on that one.
You can't cut the cake.